An 18-year-old immigrant comes to the U.S. with $100, convinces a random stranger to give him a job and pay for his school, and ultimately builds two incredibly successful companies. I'm Will Harvey, here with Brandon Dukeman, and this is Wealth Junkies.
This is the Wealth Junkies Show, brought to you by CEO Capital Partners.
Hey, what's going on, junkies? It's Brandon Dukeman here with Will Harvey. We've got a great show in store for you today. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our show so that way you won't miss our daily shows. And also join us on Facebook at the Wealth Junkies Show on Facebook. Will, go ahead and let's introduce our guest today.
Yeah, Brandon, appreciate that. Will Harvey here. We have a really exciting episode. I'll just jump right into his bio, and he gave me this info, so I did not. I don't want you guys to think that I'm hating on him here, but he is a self-described poor, or was a self-described poor Croatian immigrant. He came to America where he studied finance. And he realized that there's a financial literacy issue here. So he wanted to do something about it. And he started two companies, IFA, which stands for Inside Financial Academy, and another company called Squire. He is a husband with 3 kids and been married 18 years. And we'll just dive deeper and go right into it. So Daniel, really appreciate you being on. Why don't you start with just giving the listeners your background and how you got to where you are today?
Thank you, Will. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, that's the poor little immigrant story. My wife always jokes me like, yeah, you had like $100 when you came to America, and that was about it. I came when I was 18, and I got to always start by saying like this is the best country in the world. Most people don't understand how lucky we are to live where we live. And it really bothers me when people like bitching about their
Amen to that. I totally agree.
So I'll start with that. I mean, it was, I love sharing my story just because if I can make one person understand that they can do it just because of hearing something that I've been through and that I've done, it's an amazing feeling. I mean, I'm a son of a retail worker. My mom worked in a grocery shops. My dad was an auto electrician. I'm the first one to get a college degree. I was always a 4.0 student. I was a nerd. I was an athlete. We played basketball and team handball in Croatia. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's an awesome, fun game. And there was an opportunity in 1994 to be a foreign exchange student. We were in the middle of the war, just about to be finished in 1995. I was 18 and I looked at my parents and I was like, hey, listen, we don't have connections. We don't have money to bribe people to get ahead in this country. And that's the way it is still kind of in Croatia and most of the world. I'd like to go to America, try to get education and really start something different, break the cycle. And we figured out how to do it. And I was lucky enough to get a foreign exchange student spot in good old West Virginia. And I got to tell you, man, if you've been to Morgantown or Fairmont or Clarksburg or Huntington, any of those places, people are amazing. The place is beautiful. And really it was, when you think of us foreigners, we obviously watch movies. So you watch Schwarzenegger and you see LA and New York and Miami and all these great places.
Right.
And you land in West Virginia. It's different.
Right. Completely different place. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it was a blessing in disguise because I got an opportunity to go to a fantastic school. I really wanted to be a doctor, but I figured out that I didn't have the money and I didn't have the time to do that. So I wanted to do something that's second, probably most important thing to people, which is their money, their wealth.
Absolutely.
And that's where I took my finance classes, got a double major with finance and marketing, went on to work on my master's in financial services. And it was just my passion to teach. And that's really for the last 19 years what I've been doing. So it's been an amazing thing to be a foreigner, speaking my second language, being told that I was able to explain things that most people didn't understand before.
Right.
Again, second language. So I was like, I was just meant for this shit for some reason.
That's awesome.
So Daniel, before, you said you didn't have a whole lot of money. It was too expensive in time for, to become a doctor. Tell us how you got the funding to be able to go to school and take care of those degrees?
Oh, again, only in America, Brandon. So I was a 4.0 student. I took actually extra classes in high school just to get a real American diploma so I can apply for colleges. I did really well on the ACT, got accepted to all kinds of schools. And I walked into a restaurant in Fairmont, West Virginia. It's a little town. And this guy owned a restaurant that was like the best restaurant in town, Italian. And I walked in, requested a meeting with him. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon, so there was nobody there. And the guy's like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Well, I'm a kid from Croatia. We just ended the war. My parents have no money. I have no money. I don't have a work permit. I don't have a green card. I really like for you to consider." Now, when I say it out loud, it sounds crazy. I would really love for you to consider paying for my school, giving me a job under the table. I was like, I'll cook, clean, paint, massage, whatever the hell you need me to do, dance. I was a fantastic dancer. And I will work for whatever as long as you pay for my school and let me go to college. And the guy looked at me, stood there for about 10 seconds, and he was like, okay. And this man, I had to go back to Croatia. He took care of all the paperwork, got me F1 visa, student visa. I worked there for 4.5 years. The last 2 semesters, if I took 24 and 25 credit hours plus work 60 hours a week.
Wow.
Met my wife at that restaurant. I owe my whole life to that guy because he took a chance on a kid that was, I had nothing, and worked there, paid for school with cash. So he never paid me. I just paid him in cash for every semester that he paid for me. And in 4.5 years, I graduated with double major and no money owed to him.
That's incredible. I feel like we need to unpack a few things there, but do you still talk to him to this day?
Yeah, on a regular basis. Actually, so he's 72 years old now, and he's trying to sell the restaurant. We're actually talking. I'm trying to talk him into selling it to me.
How cool would that? What a cool story that would be.
You want to talk about 180, man? Like, even my wife is like, dude, it would be so great to own that place. It would be the best PR story ever.
That would be awesome.
An immigrant comes with $100 to his name, starts working in this restaurant with nothing, and ends up buying it down. That's just crazy. That's incredible.
It's crazy.
So, now, have you ever asked him the question why he gave you the opportunity to do this?
Yeah, Brandon, it was about 3 years ago. We finally had, we go over there all the time. It's about an hour drive from my wife's family's house. And something tells you whenever I worked there for 4.5 years, and I still can't wait to go eat there again. It's just, the food is stupid good. And I went there and ended up, him and I, excuse me?
What kind of food is it?
Italian,
okay.
Yeah, his dad was straight from the boat, started the restaurant, 50 years ago. This is 50 years. It's unbelievable. Very cool. So we ended up having lunch, he and I was like, hey, I never really asked you, why did you do that? I was like, you made my life. And the guy, I always gives me goosebumps, looks at me and was like, I just saw a lot of fire. I just threw a little bit of gas on it. And I was like, cool. Dude, that's amazing. Just a amazing guy.
That just, we were talking right before this started. For you, I don't know if I would have had the courage or the stones to go up to him and basically propose something that's just wild that you would even propose that to him. So I tip my hat to you for having the courage to do that. That's pretty cool.
I don't remember how it happened, but I remember walking there, and I don't know where the idea came from, but I was like, you know what? I got nothing to lose. I already have a ticket to go back to Croatia, right. And might as well ask.
Right. Very cool. So then let me ask you this. Once you got into the learning about finance and everything in school, where did you mentioned that everything is broken. What made you come to that realization?
So it started right at the beginning. So I graduated, and me and my buddy Ray went up to Pittsburgh and interviewed with a bunch of financial companies. So you're talking Merrill Lynch, UBS, Morgan Stanley, Northwestern, Ameriprise, now American Express Financial, or now Ameriprise. And the immediate problem that I saw, everybody was telling us what we're going to sell. Here's the phone book, and you're going to call everybody, and plus your, mom, dad, brother, sister, best friend, neighbor, whoever. and this is the money you're going to make. So it was more about sell and money than it was teach and help, empower, equip. So I actually quit. We left. My wife got a job offer in Virginia Beach. So we're like, Virginia Beach doesn't sound horrible when you were in West Virginia. So we went here. And I actually took a job with 7-Eleven as a management consultant, because I was just like, I was really discouraged by the financial field, because I thought I was going to help compared to sell. I don't think I'm a great salesman. I'm just passionate about helping people, just because even through the college years, I was helped so much. I mean, like my roommate's dad bought me a bed, and because I was sleeping on the floor, I mean, I had nothing, I had nothing. So I wanted to help people rather than sell people. So started working at 7-Eleven, ended up playing basketball with a guy at a church that we went to 5:30 in the morning every Tuesday, Thursday. And the guy was a financial planner. So just like he does with everybody, he was like, "Hey, Daniel, let's go to lunch. I can tell you what I do." And I'm like, "Come on, man. Like I got my finance degree. I talked to all these people. You guys just sell." I really liked him. His name is Ryan. I still thank him for that lunch. He took me through this process that was truly educational empowerment. He didn't sell me anything. He taught me. And then together we figure out what I needed to put in place to make me and Melissa better. And I was like, this is the shit I thought that I was going to do, compared to all these companies that were telling me to sell stuff.
Right.
So I went to their HR person. I was like, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" They were like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you." So they asked me some questions like, "Oh, so you're from around here?" I was like, "Nope, I'm from Croatia." "Oh, you went to college here?" "Nope, I went to West Virginia." Like, "All right, here's a list. Here's a list that you have to fill out." They call it top, top 100 or something. Like, you're supposed to come up with 100 names, because those are the people you'll be calling. Dude, I wrote down 20 names. I think I made up 6.
That's hilarious.
We knew nobody. So I came back, and I'm like, 170 pounds, skinny, goofy looking, with accent, 22-year-old at that point, with 16 names that are real. Everything else was like Smith and Williams and whatever.
That's so
and
funny.
They're like, "No, you can't get a job here. Like, you don't have a market. You have nobody to talk to. You have nobody to sell to." They're like, And there was this lady, Debbie. She was the HR president, and she met me and made me take an aptitude test. And she was like, "Let's give this kid a shot." And they gave me a shot. In my first year, I was out of 17 people, I was the agent of the year, just because everybody I talked to, I wanted to teach them and teach them and teach them. And people like to be taught. They hate to be sold.
Right.
When you teach somebody, you teach them how to buy what they understand and understand that they need, compared to being sold that they don't know shit that they don't understand and don't want. So that was
isn't that amazing how that works, and how people don't like being hard sold? And yeah, that's so cool.
Everybody knows that we need stuff, but it's so freaking overwhelming. You have so many damn decisions to make, and colleges don't teach us shit. The MBA programs don't teach us shit when it comes to money. And then you just get into this position where everybody's trying to sell you something. If you come across somebody that you see in their heart wants to help and teach, you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome." Yeah.
Right.
And that was the complete secret to my success in the financial industry. It's like, I don't care what you do. I just want to teach you. I want to empower you. And then just give me the shot to implement, to help you to find what's out there, to put into place, because you need something to fix some kind of a problem. It's not just education without implementation is worthless.
Absolutely.
Very good.
That's really how, again, when I was starting, most top advisors are like, "Oh, I'm born here. I went to school here. I went to college here. My parents are here. My family." I'm like, I'm definitely not born here. I don't have anybody here. I didn't go to college here. I got nobody here, but I'm just passionate about empowering people.
Yeah.
And that was really my differentiator.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to the know you, like you, trust you, theme of things. People who know you, then they like you, and then they trust you. So by teaching people things, they get to know you a little bit better. They get to know that you're actually passionate and not just trying to sell them stuff. Right. And then they begin to like you. And then at that point, they'll give you the opportunity to implement it, rather than someone just sitting there trying to sell them something. So
correct.
Yeah, exactly. And I think having the extra little bit of chip on your shoulder, being an immigrant, and having that work ethic.
Talking about? I never had that.
Yeah, exactly. Having that work ethic that a lot of people born here that are entitled, that you just didn't have that. You worked really hard, and that's what got you to where you are. I want to talk real quick. You said when you were looking around at all the big institutions, Merrill Lynch, UBS, all those places, you said that what they do is they're just trying to sell a product to you and move on. Basically, you're just a barcode, so to speak, the people that that are their customers, quote unquote. I want to talk about, because this is something that I've always had issue with, is I have zero money in the stock market. I have no 401k, no IRA or anything like that, just because I've educated myself and just realized that the only people really making money in that situation are the ones collecting the fees and all of that. So I just wanted to get your take on that and see what you thought in that regard.
So this is the thing, I've been doing this 19 years, and Merrill Lynch, UBS, all those companies are fantastic companies for what they do. And when I meant, the problem is, no matter what you do, even, when you buy real estate, you have to buy a mortgage from a mortgage guy, right? He's going to get paid. So there is value in somebody doing something for you that's helping you promote your life in any kind of financial way. That's just the way our community, the way our culture works. They're amazing companies. Just for me, they do fantastic job for about a 10% of the story. And the 10% of the story, just like you said, it's market, it's stocks, bonds, futures, all that stuff. They're fantastic at that. It just wasn't a fit for me. For my belief is car insurance is just as important as your stock portfolio, because you get in a car accident and you have 25, 50, 25 college car insurance, everything you've done can be gone because you hit somebody, you hurt them, and now they're suing you for $750,000. Guess where that's coming from?
That's a
From
great
your
point.
pocket, from your assets, and from your future. Understanding umbrella policy when it comes to real estate. How many people do you talk to that actually understand LLCs, ownership, risk mitigation when it comes to owning real estate? If somebody falls down in one of your properties,
Right.
and you own it in your personal name, guess who's they're suing?
Right.
And guess what they can take? So when it comes to real financial education, it's all about understanding the big picture. I always talk, and that's where Squire name came from for our financial literacy company. It's all about the castle. In medieval times, you knew who had the most money. They had the big ass castle, but they also had a big ass moat around the castle so that nobody can just come in and steal shit.
Right.
Same thing today. Your real estate, your car, your house, your 401k portfolio, IRA, mutual fund, golden ring, Breitling watch, whatever. All that shit is a part of your castle. How much time do people actually spend on building their moat to protect everything that they've built? And worst even is protect everything that they will build. Because our future, we're still young. Our future is where our wealth is. Mm-hmm. It's not just today, but we have this guy. He's probably the best attorney ever when it comes to personal injury. Lower the hammer, Stanley. I mean, he freaking screams at the TV on commercial. He's going to get the cash because you got in a car accident. He's going to get him for everything they got. That's their society. So understanding that protection. Yep. So again, Merrill Lynch is not a bad place. They're fantastic, awesome producers that do a great job for about 10% of the full picture of the finances. They don't mess with your car insurance, homeowners, wills, trusts, life insurance, taxes, all that stuff. They are amazing at the job that they do. Another problem that we have in our society is that finance world is broken up into so many segments that you have to talk to so many people to get all the answers. Your average normal person like me, it's so much overwhelming information to take in and really put it together in a macro story to actually understand the whole system. And by design, it's made that way because it's easier to make money on people that are not educated.
Absolutely.
Way easier to sell somebody that's not educated compared to educated. Educated person buys. Yeah. Uneducated person gets sold. My whole future of and the reason we built Squire and IFA is to teach people, to make them understand that they can buy because they're educated rather than being sold because they don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about Squire and IFA and what they do.
So and I was Will and I, Brandon, were talking before this, and I was like, I'm just, I've been doing personal finance for 19 years now, and I just got frustrated sitting across incredible, smart, successful, high income, high value clients, and they never got any education when it comes to financial literacy. teaching them simple math interest compared to compound math interest, understanding, don't buy a car with cash when you can go borrow money at 1.5% simple math interest, and the car is a deductible thing. Depreciating thing. So you lose value every time you drive it down the street. Like, why would you use cash for that? I'd rather put down 10% on another property, and, my mortgage is $700. I rent it out for $1,200. Guess what? Now I have $500 to buy a car. But I haven't.
Now you're speaking our language, the real estate junkies.
Absolutely. But that's the way you got to look at it. It's all about the macro picture rather than looking at everything in micro. So I started building IFA, Inside Financial Academy, because I wanted to help people at a greater scale. I was talking to one of my friends, John. He's a surgeon, and he went from being a top surgeon at a hospital to running a hospital in Wisconsin. So I was like, dude, you're leaving surgery. Like, you love the fucking hugs, man. Like, you love helping people, fixing people. And he was like, Daniel, you and I are the same person, just different products. We fix people. You do the finances, I do it with surgery. But we get the hugs one-on-one, and it's not scalable. Now I'm going to a hospital, and I get to impact the whole system, the care, the doctors, the nurses, the process, the length, the everything. So I'm touching thousands of patients at a time compared to one at a time. So when I started building IFA, I was like, this is where my heart is. I want to touch thousands of people to teach them what they should be taught anyway, compared to one at a time. And that's where go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, was when he said that to you, did that really stick? And is that kind of what you shifted your mindset to kind of be the same way and think?
Yeah, I already started writing the outline for IFA when we had that conversation, because it was our last dinner when he was leaving here. And he was like, look, you're doing the same thing. You just want to do what I'm doing. You want to impact more people, and your heart is telling you that that's your call. I'm like, exactly. Because you guys know this. 50, 60, 70 years ago, who knew about a 401k, IRA, or any of that stuff?
Right.
Who actually retired from a stock market return or portfolio account? Nobody. They worked for a company for 30, 40, 50 years, got a gold watch, got a paycheck for the rest of their lives, plus Social Security, were making almost as much as they were making working. So there was no personal savings. There was none of that. Maybe they saved a little bit of money to have the new caddy and see the grandkids.
Right.
And 401k comes out. Hey, here's this awesome, cool, new, shiny things. Plus the market starts doing well. Nobody really cared what happened in China. Today, somebody farts in China and impacts our market here. Like in the 80s, that didn't happen. So now it's really easy to sell people like, oh, we'll give you this match and it's going to be awesome. But by the way, you have no pensions. And so security for you and I, it's like going to be, who knows, worthless. Absolutely. We're already getting statements there's going to be 70, 65% of the value of today, right? By the time we get 65. So, but there was no support in this huge financial responsibility switch from corporations to individuals. No education. My parents-in-law bought their house for $20,000. What are our houses average in DC or all the other places? You're talking, it used to be like 2-3 times income. Now it's what, 10, 15, 20 times income.
Oh, yeah.
So
Easy.
Traditional way of doing things has just completely been turned upside down, but there's no support, no education, no empowerment of people. And people are just feeling in the dark. I talk to people every day, and I'm sad that there's nobody doing anything about it. And really the industry is pushing not for stuff to happen because it's easier, again, to sell a person that's not educated. That's the truth.
Right. They don't want them to know about the possibilities that's open to them. So,
right. Yeah.
What are some common themes?
That's how Squire started. Squire was, we started performing IFA in businesses. It's an employee benefit that employers can provide financial literacy to their employees. And then we heard this feedback going, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How can we give it to our husbands, wives, sons, daughters, parents, friends? And that's whenever about 1.5 years ago, we started building Squire platform, and it's launching Monday, man. I'm so excited because
nice.
People can go on. It's a pure subscription model, very simple, no sale. Nobody's trying to sell you anything. It's just people being able to answer your questions as you need them in live kind of situation. We have 170 videos, over 100 interviews with specialists and subject matter experts that you can watch before you go make a decision. So we're really all about that empowerment.
Very cool.
And what's the target audience for that, for someone looking into something like that?
I hate this answer, but anybody that just wants to learn. It's crazy. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's got a fantastic online business, and he was like, "Dude, I have about 10% of the population that needs my product." They're like, "You have 100% of the population that needs your product," because all of us are dealing with crap.
Absolutely.
You know, we're trying to go to the genesis of the problem, which is the college graduates. Because if you think about it, like you finish college, that first 6 months is a shit show of decision making. Like, you know, you're moving, you got a down payment for the, you know, first month, the last month's rent, credit, car, insurance, health, benefits, 401k, paycheck, taxes. I mean, it's like shit you never had to worry about.
And you learn about all that stuff in college, right?
Oh, absolutely. Didn't we all?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
that's where we want to go, through colleges, parent associations, fraternities, sororities, to go, hey, there is an empowerment tool, very inexpensive, and you can actually learn in a safe, really easy environment. And you can actually talk to specialists that can teach you, just like me. Hey, pure education, no advice, no sale.
That's awesome.
That's
and
really cool.
and so how can listeners get to that website? What, if you can spell it out?
It's just www.getsquire, and that's SQWIRE.com. On Instagram, we're GetSquire as well. On Facebook. So we're kind of all over the place. If you put in SQWIRE, you'll find us.
Awesome. So, you know, I'm sure we could talk for probably 3 days on everything, you know, your story and all that, but we're going to get towards the end here a little bit. We've got a segment here that we like to call Moments of Truth. We're going to get 7 questions out at you as quickly as possible. Hopefully, you know, you can answer them as fast as you can and, you know, with as much truth as possible. So I'm going to start off here. Daniel, who's your success role model?
Elon Musk. That dude is crazy, and he has no limits in his mind of what's possible. He's unbelievable.
He's trying to go to Mars, right?
Right. I mean, it's, you know, what he's done. Did you see the rockets coming back? Like, when did that happen? How did he figure that crap out?
Right.
It's insane. And if you read his book, that's also one of your questions is, what's the book? That's one of my favorite books, on top of a couple other ones. But it's just the thought process of why not is unbelievable. I love it.
It's so funny. I was listening to something from Grant Cardone, and he was talking about a recession coming and blah, 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 this, that. And he's like, Elon Musk, you know, do you think he cares about a recession coming? The dude's trying to go to freaking Mars. He doesn't, he's not thinking about it.
He's like, right? He's like, Earthling. So
yeah, exactly. Okay. So next question. What's your biggest success thus far?
Honestly, man, 18 years of marriage is incredible. You know, and people will understand is having a rock behind you and in front of you and inside of you when life hits you in your face, to have somebody to tell you, hey, you got this. They pick you up and kick you out the door, and to tell you that you can. It's huge. Just another, and a lot of people resonate with this. Life will put you in a position where you have to take a turn, where there will be a path in front of you, and taking the step is the hardest thing ever, because it is, you know, we talked about being comfortable with uncomfortable. I have somehow, by the grace of God, seemed to have always taken the right step. And it's just, I've led my life with my heart and really listened to it, and just living the life. I mean, guys, I came from little Croatia, who's amazing at soccer. I don't know if you noticed, we were pretty great, but little country of 4 million people, where I'm living 1 in a million kind of life. I mean, it's incredible. It's just a fact that I was so blessed to have what I have, to be where I am. But it was those steps that I was able to take that have gotten me here. That's probably my biggest success.
Awesome.
So on the contrary to that, what's your biggest failure that you think you've had?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Hopefully every entrepreneur will tell you that. I probably the biggest one actually ended up picking a completely wrong CPA. You have no idea how important a CPA relationship is, and ended up being audited and owing about $180,000 in stuff that the CPA did wrong and completely messed you up. And again, those are kind of situations where you learn how to deal with life, because life is, and you guys know this, not a straight line. It's not perfect. Absolutely. But it's all about how we react to everything that's going on around us. My wife and I it took about a year and a half process to get to this point, and to get to the point of finding out what the hell happened and IRS and dealing with them. And, we spent a lot of nights not sleeping and crying and going, finally one day I woke up and I was like, you know what? Let's figure out a way to fix this. I figured out a way to fix this. What's it going to take? And as soon as, I'll tell you, it was the most amazing thing. As soon as I wrote shit down, put a plan together and started implementing, all the stress, everything went away. Just because now it's a solution. I have action steps. I know exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, how long it's going to take. And I was just like, that's all I can do. Because if I continue being stressed, depressed, unhappy, it just makes me not being able to be the best that I can with the things that I actually have to be, which is doing work, making money, which solves the problem. And I figured out real quickly, if it's a money problem, it's not a real problem. I have my health, I have my family, I have everything. Who gives a shit about the money? So I love it. That was the big failure that I learned a lot from.
Amen. Yes. For me, at least, I learn more from failures than I do from success. No question. So,
well, I just read a quote. There's no failures. There's education. That's it.
That's right. That's exactly all. Right. So awesome. Well, what's your favorite quote?
So it's funny. When I was in high school back home, I was reading Friedrich Nietzsche, and when I was coming to America, I had a laminated card that I had with me, and it was his quote where it says, "If he who wants to fly one day must first learn how to stand and walk. One cannot fly into flying." Because coming to America, I had to figure out just how to crawl, walk, and then fly. I felt that at some point over the last 10 years, I started flying and really being, catching my stride. I tore that one up, and I have two now that I carry with me. First one is I will never, ever be outworked. The second is a measure of a man is what it takes to stop him. Those two, I think.
That's really good.
Yeah, I like those. And yeah. Wow.
Yeah, those are really good.
I like those ones. So what are some of your hobbies outside of, being an entrepreneur?
That's, if you know entrepreneurship.
I know that's such a hard question.
I don't play golf. I just found it, 4 or 5 hours at a time is just such a long time to waste.
Yeah, it is.
I love to read. On average, I probably read 24 books a year. And honestly, I'm probably ADD, ADHD, all that shit. I just have never been,
diagnosed with it. Yeah.
Any of that stuff. But I feel like a book centers me. That's the only thing that gets my full attention, and that I don't think about anything else, because I can completely immerse myself into the story or into the value or whatever I'm trying to get out of the book. And then my wife, actually, for every 2 books that I read, motivational, business, biography, I have to read a fiction. So she's like, let your brain just relax a little. I was like, okay. So I do read a lot. And then we own a CrossFit gym. So we work out a good bit because I love food and I love drink. So I would be a fat bastard if I didn't work out. That's more funny. Like a self-maintenance than anything.
Right.
That's funny. All right. Well, now we're back to the entrepreneurship. What is the best business book that you've read? Speaking on books.
Business book. I love, not so much. So there's some books here. One of my favorites used to be Good to Great, but then Malcolm came out with Great by Choice. I don't know if you guys read it. It is my favorite just because it talks about, all the books.
Who's that by?
Jim Collins.
Jim Collins, okay.
Jim Collins. So he did Good to Great, which is probably his most known book. But then after 2008, so a lot of the books that are business were written before 2008, which is like everything was booming, everybody was kicking ass and was amazing, right? He wrote the book post 2008, and he said, why are these companies fantastic when everything goes to shit? And it is a awesome story of companies in hard times, what they did culturally, operationally to really get through and come on top and be amazing. It is just a fantastic story. It's probably my favorite. And then second one, it's not so much a business, more of a mindset. And you guys know that, Game of Life is played within 6 inches between your ears. And it's called The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. Is a great book. And it just talks about daily habits, motivation, meditation, owning your day, owning your morning. It's awesome. So there's a lot.
Very cool.
It's hard for me to like pick one. I apologize.
Yeah, no, please. Those
are good. I wrote those down. Probably ordering those later tonight, anyways. So, so last question here: if there's one key piece of advice you give our listeners with achieving success, what do you think it would be?
Man, I had a mentor probably 15 years ago, and the one thing that he told me when it comes to success in life, sales, business, read psychology rather than business and motivational books. Psychology is what it gets us from A to B, what gets us to wake up and be happy and know how to deal with when we're not and when we're depressed, because everybody will be. Don't fool yourself thinking that that everything's going to be awesome. It's not. Everything's going to take twice the time. Everything's going to be harder than you ever thought. Positive mental attitude, being happy, being grateful to what you have and not thinking about what you don't have. Those are the things that I see on a regular basis that people struggle with. They don't have gratitude for their current success, for their current situation. I mean, even if you're struggling, just think, I'm still struggling in America. How really badly am I struggling?
That's
right?
really good.
Country of all opportunity. If somebody like me, a freaking nobody from a different continent at 18 can build what I built and work what I worked, anybody can do it. Right. I had no help. Nobody gave me anything. I'm just grateful. And that's what keeps me moving forward. I've had so many, I give you one failure. I had so many failures that I just said, okay, I better learn from this. Just like, Will, you said, keep moving. It's not, I love, there's a song by, I think, Brad Paisley, when you're in hell, just keep on moving.
Yeah.
It's all temporary. This too shall pass. Don't freaking think that it's forever.
Right.
All the great things are going to end. All the bad things are going to end. It's just about how you deal with it. That's it. That's the biggest success that will get you to where you need to be. Just knowing that.
Amen.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's a mic drop.
Yeah. Yeah. Just cut it off. Cut it off. Hit the outro real quick.
Right. We'll end it right here. No, I'm just kidding. But no, so that's awesome stuff. This was incredibly valuable. How can anybody help you? What are some wants and needs for your businesses?
Really go follow us on Instagram. We're putting so much content out. I'm passionate about helping people and really getting engagement. I would love for people to go check us out at getsquire.com, just because I think we've built something amazing. And it comes from my heart just to be able to support and empower people to really feel better about where they are and where they want to go. I don't have many wants. I have really passions, and that's just everything that I'm doing is try to help somebody. So I'm truly thankful for the life that I have, the people that have helped me get there. And now it's just trying to give it back.
Beautiful. And how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Again, I'm on Facebook. If you punch in Daniel with a J, if you guys have that on your website, I'm the only freaking Danijel Velicki on Facebook.
Yeah. we kept saying, we thought your name was Danijel.
No, trust me. I have my oldest daughter is named Maya. It's M-A-J-A, so she's Maja always.
That's funny.
Like, thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Danijel Velicki, you can find me easy. Me and Isaac, we run the Squire Instagram. That's easiest also place to find us. Getsquire.com. And for there's multiple ways to find us.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
All right, guys. Well, that wraps things up with Daniel. I think you guys got some great inspiration from him here. You heard his story. There's really no excuse for you not to do anything successful out there. So if you got any questions, you know how to reach him here. If not, we'll see you tomorrow. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss out. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
You've been listening to the Daily Wealth Junkies Show, brought to you by CEO Capital Partners. CEO Capital Partners works with business owners and executives to build passive income through multifamily apartment syndications. For more information about how you can invest in quality multifamily real estate assets and build significant streams of passive income, visit us today at ceocapitalpartners.com.